What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to an all-new Mentor Monday. I'm having fun. This is like some of the early iterations of doing this live for real, so this is really fun. I'm so stoked to see so many people showing up in the chat early. Today we are going to get into some motivational topics, talking about actually what I want to talk about today is the lies we tell ourselves as creatives and this comparison game that we get into, which ends up causing a lot of it ends up killing the passion. I want to get into doing that today, and I also want to get into taking your calls. Now, if you don't know, if this is your first Mentor Monday, if you have Zoom, which is the video conferencing app, I'm going to put a meeting code into the chat, and you can call me with your creative questions. Now, let's avoid any technical topics or which keyboard should I buy, this or that, how do I use Ableton. Mentor Monday is all about the less technical and more philosophical aspects of being a home studio producer, being a creative, being an artist. So you can call in with any of your questions surrounding that. And I'll talk a little bit about today's topic, which I just kind of talked about, the lie we tell ourselves as creatives. And we'll dive into that, and then I will drop that room code in. You'll get put into a waiting room, and then I will bring people in one by one into the call, and you will be live on the air. I'm seeing so much chat light up right now, and it's so amazing to see everybody. Thank you for being here. Sammy Gamer was the first one in chat, super early, so thank you, Sammy, for showing up. But of course, the honorary first always goes to Manuel Gonzalez. Welcome. Savage TV here as usual. Ari, Gabu, nice to see you. Mithyla is here. Grelly the musician, what is up? Haggadah, congratulations on your new gear. I just saw that Haggadah got actually some Rolly gear, a Seaboard block. I hope you're making some cool tunes with that. I hope that's working out well. Guys, it's Drill Bit's birthday today, so if everybody could drop the bass in chat for Drill Bit. We know that he loves dubstep, so let's give it up for him. Happy birthday, Drill Bit. So happy to see you. And I'm glad I could go live on your birthday. It's perfect. Danio, nice to see you as well. Good afternoon. Lucas, what's up? Nice to see you. Scott Vincent, hello. A lot of cool folks in here today. Bitplay, oh, you really like the song in the intro? You can go listen to it on Spotify. The Spotify link is in the description. Who else is here? Did I get everybody? Sorry if I missed you. I'm kind of trying to keep up with the chat. Jax CR, nice to see you. Poor Louie, what is up? Nick Lovin, hey, what's up? Me and Nick have the same name, and we're from the same state. Or in the same state, at least. Tom Adams, first time here. Welcome. I'm glad you could show up for the first time. Like I said, oh, Wyatt is here too. See, I can't even keep up with this chat. Capel Tapple is here. He made it. He thought ahead today. Nathan Johnson. Nathan is a diamond supporter on Patreon, which means he gets a monthly mentorship, once a month, 45-minute lesson with me, in addition to all the other perks that you can get at patreon.com/TAETRO. But we'll talk about that later. Fable Supreme, what's up? Let's get into today's topic. Actually, it is kind of Patreon related. So the title of the stream is super clickbaity, right? Music producers, don't compare yourself. Don't compare yourself to a lie, right? And actually this idea was sparked today because on Patreon I have posted a live looping performance that isn't on YouTube yet, but it'll be on YouTube probably sometime this weekend. And one of the comments from Jesse Light, who is one of the Patreon supporters, he asked, how many takes? It looks so comfy. It looks so cozy. It looks like you're doing so well. And I'm really stoked that he asked that question because I realize this is how I think when I see other music producers or other creatives online, is that we only see the best take. We only see the highlight reel. We only see the times that it went well. We don't often see the times where it didn't go well. So that question of how many takes did it take you to get it? It's like, that's such a real question because it took me a lot of takes to get this performance. And even though most of you who are not Patreon supporters haven't seen the performance, if you look at any of my videos on my channel that are performances straight through or whatever, you're rarely, I don't know if you're ever, seeing the very first take of anything. So the reality is that Saturday night when I shot that video, I was actually spending I was probably doing 10, 11, 12 takes, sometimes just straight up messing up and having to stop and start all over. And then sometimes the take just wasn't good enough, so I had to do it again. But this is where we get caught up in the lie, right? So the lie that it's easy to tell yourself is, oh, well, TAETRO did a really great live performance. He's really great. So I need to be that good. I need to be able to do this in one take every time. Or, oh, his studio looks so dope. I need to make my studio look that dope all the time. And when it doesn't look that dope, I feel bad about myself. When the reality is, like, everything's a mess right now for me. Like, you guys don't see it when it's a mess. You guys see it when it's super clean. And this is not just about me and what I put out. This is for all creators, and also for creators that I consume, because I have this image of what they do and what they create and how perfect and amazing it is. And I aspire to have a certain level of quality like them. But what I have to consistently ground myself and realize is that's not there every day. Like, that's not how it is. That's how it is in front of the camera. That's how it is what they show you. And you can start to see the cracks. And I don't think anybody's trying to hide anything. Obviously, as an artist, you want to put out your best work. And I do my best, like in streams like this, to be as authentic as possible, and to talk to you guys, bring it down for real as possible. If you immerse yourself in podcasts or in a specific creator's content, you'll start to see the in between the cracks of, like, oh, this is what it's really like. But a thing that I was actually just thinking of, and I didn't do this on purpose at all, is right before the stream started, probably about 15 minutes before the stream started, I took the trash out. And it was just something I was doing that needed to be done, but also, like, just to pass the time, because I get really anxious right before I stream. So I go ahead and take the trash out. But if you just imagine your hero, your favorite creator, your favorite whoever, getting their trash together, getting it out of the barrel, spilling stuff all over the place, getting the bathroom trash, which is like always more gross than the regular trash, and putting that together and taking their trash out and throwing it away, suddenly you will have a more human vision of the person you actually are looking up to in your head. Because everybody has to take their trash out, unless it's like super mega rich people with, people to do that for them. But if you just imagine your heroes taking the trash out, it kind of grounds you, because everybody takes the trash out. You take the trash out, I take the trash out, and then spread that out to the content making. Okay, when you're sitting there and you're super frustrated doing take after take after take, either trying to do a recording, trying to do a video, or if you're a visual artist, like doing versions and versions of a visual art piece, when you're getting frustrated and the part of your brain wants to tell you, hey, your hero doesn't take this long to do this, your hero doesn't take as many takes, just make that part of your brain shut up and tell it, everybody takes out the trash. Everybody has to deal with this crap. Everybody is doing take after take after take. That's not to say that a very well-trained musician might do it a little bit faster than you, and it is still important to put in work, because if you peel back the curtain, what you probably don't know is all of your hero's complete history. You probably don't know that your hero or an artist you look up to has taken piano lessons since they were 7. Or you don't know that a hero or artist you look up to gets a lot of deals with a lot of brands, so that's why they have this amazing gear. So if you compare yourself to those two situations and that's not your reality, you're going to constantly feel defeated and constantly feel like, well, why can't I achieve what they have when their circumstances are just different? So don't falsely compare yourself. Don't tell yourself the lie of, I need to be just like them. If I'm not like them, I'm not successful, or that they're so perfect. If I'm not that perfect, I'm just not cut out for this. Don't get caught up in that lie, because it takes several takes. And the other night when I was filming my live performance video, my live looping video, I was getting frustrated because I was doing so many takes and I wasn't getting it, because so often I craft these live sets in a very short amount of time with gear that I'm not super familiar with. And when I was getting frustrated, I almost just called it quits for the night and said, okay, I'll shoot it tomorrow. But instead I just took a break, grabbed something to drink, stepped away, came back, sat down, and did it some more, and got the take that I actually really like, and that patrons can see now and you guys will all see later this weekend. But that's what it is. Like, we all go through hard times. We all take the trash out. If you can remember one thing from this stream, it is that concept of we all take the trash out. Everybody does. Your heroes do. No matter how cool their Instagram looks, no matter how cool their videos are, people are spending time doing multiple takes. And you just got to peek in a little closer and not get caught up in superficial things and pretend like your heroes are perfect, because we all take the trash out, right? So I hope that's a little bit motivational for you all. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to drop the Zoom link into the chat. Don't worry if you want to call in on Zoom and you don't want to be on video because it's just audio anyway. So here goes the Zoom code in chat. Once you join, I'll hear a little ding and you'll be in the waiting room. I'll pull you in. Make sure that you mute the stream on YouTube before you join the call, or else it will echo back and forth, or it'll be really weird. Boom, bap, art. We all take the trash out. You know it. It's true. Sammy, thanks. I'm so glad you could take some stuff from that. Drillbit, have a happy birthday. I'm sorry you have to go off, but I hope you have a great day. You can watch the stream when it is posted later. Everybody, happy birthday to Drillbit before he goes and watches some Gotham on Netflix. Good show. I like Batman, but I never really watched Gotham. Zara asks, what tips do you have for teenagers that produce? The thing about being a younger person in producing, it does go back to some of what we've already talked about, is like, don't compare yourself, especially don't compare yourself too much to people who are much older that either A, have steady streams of income, which as a teenager it's harder to get, and also have longer years of training. So don't get caught up in that comparison game. Oh, it's asking for a password to join the Zoom. Let's figure that out. But teenagers, don't compare yourself to people who are much older, with much more training and much more income. But then also, you are a generation that is into things from a much younger age, right? So if you are into the latest trends, like say TikTok is super happening right now, and I'm not even on TikTok right now. If you're in a generation that is TikTok fluent, that is kind of coming up with the rules for TikTok and putting out the main content, you're immersed in it. You and your generation, you and your friends. So you have that advantage to you. So leverage as much as you can from your youth and from that advantage you have of being a younger pioneer in this sort of world. Because social media is one of the main things I use to promote my music. Teenagers and people who have direct access to teen culture and youth culture have such a more direct line to actually being involved on those platforms and doing it well. Like, you could probably do it way better than me because you're that much more connected to the world. So let's see. Guys, can you let me know if you have Zoom? I'm putting the room code in again. Nathan says it's asking for a password. I would love to turn the password off. That would be great. But let's see what is up. Pretty sure I thought the call was public. But let's see. You guys want to get the meeting password? I wonder if it's like forcing me to have a password. All right, I will drop in the password and hopefully you guys can figure it out. HU, it is cap sensitive. So this is the room code. It's going here. That's the room code. And then this is the password going in chat right now. Sorry, guys. I think Zoom has been just like switching things up with everybody using it. So they're making people use certain features. It's case sensitive, so make sure you do the right case and all that. And you should be let in with that password. Any trouble, let me know. Jesse Light is here. Jesse, I don't know if you're just joining, but you kind of inspired today's Mentor Monday. So that's pretty cool. Ooh, who do we have? Where's my participants? Manage. All right, Nathan is about to join us. Let's take our first call. And if you are thinking about joining, go ahead. You'll be put in the waiting room and I'll take you next. All right, Nathan, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Hey, yeah.
Amazing. Can you let everybody know where you're calling in from today?
Hey, Nick. Hey, everybody. I'm down in Panama, just overlooking the ocean in this beautiful weather, but still on lockdown down here, pretty heavy. So, yeah.
Right. All right. Amazing. What's your question today?
So I just wanted to ask I love watching the performances that you've put together in the past. And
Thank you.
I was wondering how you attach music to, or attach emotion to your music and your performances, and how you explore that.
Ooh, that's a deep one and a tough one. It's interesting because I always came from the approach of being a songwriter. So I was a songwriter before I started really making music like I make today.
Right.
And what eventually that meant for me was like it was all emotion. So like songwriting for me was all about emotion, and I was a songwriter as a teenager. So obviously you have all those teenage emotions.
Right.
So I very much carried that over into electronic music. I'm gonna turn your volume up because I think people said you're a little quiet. But I forgot, guys. I turned the volume up. Let me know if it's still too quiet. But Nathan's question was about emotion. How do you apply emotion to the music? So me coming into this world from being a songwriter, I just carry that over, and I just every piece has to have some type of emotion, and also the songwriting language, and I don't just mean like the words, but also the harmony of the type of music that I listen to. Like I was very into like pop punk and emo music, which is obviously emo, like it's short for emotional, right? So I bring so much of that influence in even into this electronic music world. Even if you can't really hear it that much in the music, there's still an influence.
Right.
So I guess it's part influence and part like for me, music is mostly about emotion. I think what you'll find is some people are super into almost the math of music. Some people are super into the theory, but for me, and that this was a struggle in music school too, because people put technique before a lot of the emotion, and that is kind of what's regarded as great, like that's what regards you as like a high level musician, right, is your technique. But I always saw your ability to convey emotion as a very important part of being a musician, and more important than technique for me, you know. um,
Right.
so that's kind of where it comes from. It comes from like an influence, and from a point of like always kind of putting influence first and never really putting technique first, even though like working on technique, working on skills and fundamentals, but it's only about sending a message, conveying a message, or getting something out. It's always been an outlet for me. So if you put that first, the emotion will come through, I think.
Right. And with the experience that you have, do you now instinctively think of sounds like, say, you have a mood that you want to compose a song in? Can you instinctively go, okay, this bit needs to be happier? Oh, I know the sounds that are going to fit to lift this up to where I want it to be.
Oh, absolutely. So like it comes down to arranging and orchestrating your sounds. It comes down to knowing your sound library, and it also comes down to music theory. The very basic version of this is okay, if I want to write a sad song, I'll write in a minor key. If I want to write a happy song, I'll write in a major key. And that's that very,
Right.
very, very basic level. But when you start to think of like having knowledge in music theory and understanding that, there's like so many more layers of that onion that you can peel back. And that's just like fluency. That's like language. Like you can speak a lot more eloquently if you know a language really well versus if you just learned a language today. You know, like you can say a native English speaker can speak a lot more eloquently than somebody who just learned English. It's the same thing with music theory. You can convey a lot more emotion and a lot more detail and a lot more nuance the deeper you're immersed in that. But then on the sound design part, like if we all know our synths and our presets and our music production tools really well, if I wanted to make something sound a little sad or a little bit gritty, is it about maybe detuning things a little bit? Is it about using a less bright sound, so rolling off some of those highs? Is it about degrading the sound with some tape emulation? Like I'm absolutely thinking about that. One of my biggest sessions, the first session that I actually put on this channel is called Rain, and that was supposed to be a very somber, moody piece because it began with a sample of rainfall, and like that, using field recordings alone, that conveys a mood. If you have rainfall versus if you have the waves at the beach, so 100%, it is like a thought in my mind of how to convey this mood, and then diving into all the different ways you can convey that, whether it's sound design or music theory, certain choices in your composition, all that.
Yeah, right. Cool. Thanks.
Nathan, thank you so much. I will talk to you soon. I hope things are going well with the Akai and PK Mini. Did you get it yet?
No, with all this lockdown stuff, it's been held up for another week, but
Oh
hopefully
boy.
soon.
By the time we get our next lesson in, hopefully you'll have something to show me.
Yeah. Thank you, man. And thanks for today. It's a great topic.
Thank you so much. Have a good one. Yeah, folks, great call, great call. We're going to keep moving on because I have 4 people in the waiting room, I believe. Yes, so I'm going to go one by one. I've got Sammy, Adam, Gabu, and Zara in the waiting room. I'm going to go right down that list. Sammy, you are up next. Make sure you mute the stream. I'm about to admit you into the room. Here we go. Let's see if it works. It always takes a minute to admit somebody. Did I do it right? I think so. Just wait a minute. Guys, really great topic. Do you convey emotion in your music? Let me know. What do you favor more, actually, technique or emotion? It's hard. You want to learn your fundamentals. You want to learn all the things you need to learn, and it can be a very difficult thing to balance because you want to have the skill, you want to have that language, but it doesn't always stack up. Sammy, did we lose you? I'm gonna admit you one more time. Zoom is being weird. There we go. All right. Sammy, make sure your mic is unmuted. Oh, I can unmute you. Perfect. Can you hear me, Sammy?
Yeah.
Perfect. Sorry, Zoom is acting so weird. Where are you calling in from today, Sammy?
I'm just in Michigan.
Michigan. You say just Michigan like it's boring. I think that's cool. I'm all the way over on the East Coast and you're in Michigan and we're on a call together.
Nice.
How are things for you?
Good. So do I just call you TAETRO or?
You can call me TAETRO or you can call me Nick. We can use superhero names or real identity names, whichever you prefer. What's your question today?
If you get stuck, just out of ideas, plain flat out, how do you just free up, get more ideas?
It's a very common question. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 13.
13. Wow, super young. And so you're getting into music production and you're super interested in it and you feel like you're running out of ideas already at 13? What's going to happen when you're as old as me, 28?
Well, I only have the MPK mini play, so I
All
don't
you
have
need.
anything big yet.
For sure. And that's totally cool. Like if I just had to survive on a desert island with my laptop and an MPK mini play, I could totally do it. So don't feel like you're limited by the stuff because the stuff isn't going to bring you more ideas. But for feeling limited or feeling like that writer's block feeling, I can definitely recommend some things like trying to emulate the people that you looked up to and emulate the people that you kind of that got you into this in the first place. Because if you have these musicians or producers or whoever that make this music that made you say, oh, I really want to do that, how can you emulate them? How can you listen to your favorite track and really pick it apart and understand what makes that track? Okay, they went to the chorus after 8 bars and the chorus was a different chord progression than the verse. And it introduced this new high lead sound, which I hadn't heard earlier in the track. Like, it's at that level. Like, right, you're a musician now. We're not just listeners anymore. We're not just like passively listening. Now we're like getting deep into things. We're analyzing so that hopefully we can come up with our own ideas, and you build vocabulary that way. So if you do that with one song, and even if you wanted to cover the song and make a recreation of it, you would learn a lot from that. But if you do that with many songs, right? Like I love this playlist of 10 tracks and I'm going to learn as much as I can from this. I'm going to pull the high lead in the chorus from this track. I'm going to pull the wobble bass in this track. I'm going to put it all together and make my own thing. At a certain point, if you're feeling limited, and because you are so young, I will say that don't stop learning either. Like I talked about fundamentals before, and that's super important, especially at your age when it is the time to be building up your language. It's very, very much like learning a language. And I don't mean to hammer home the point of music theory because that can get really dry and actually really like almost make you fall off of it. But learning music theory, even if it is via the tracks that you love, because if you do music theory just dry, like with written music and stuff, you're gonna feel like, oh, this is boring. If you are like, oh, let me figure out how to analyze this song that I love and figure out the chord progression and figure out the melody and the harmony around it, then it's actually engaging because then you're learning something related to what you love. It's not super dry. So building up your vocabulary and understanding how to create things in different ways. Because if you've run out of ideas, it probably means you need something to challenge you and push you to make something new. And then also just go ahead and Oh, do they want to talk to me? Who is that? Tell them I said hello.
It's just my dad. Sorry.
Oh, what's up, Dad? Thank you for supporting your kid in making music and music production. We need more parents like that around. Don't get in trouble because you're on the call.
Okay.
Do you get
Well,
that
I
though,
guess
Sammy?
I gotta go.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
okay. But was that good help?
Yeah.
Tell your
thanks.
dad that he's great for supporting you in your passion and your dream, okay? Tell your dad I told you to say that.
Yeah. All right.
All right, have a good one, Sammy.
All right. You too.
That's a funny call. That's a funny call. Get your parents' permission before calling in to Mentor Monday. That's what I'll say. Are we ready for another call, chat? Because I think these people in the waiting room are ready. Again, I've got Adam, Gabu, Zara, and Trek in the waiting room. Adam, you are up next. I'm hitting admit now. Make sure you mute the YouTube stream so it doesn't reflect back in on us. All right, Adam, it doesn't look like you have a mic on. Make sure your mic is on or selected in the bottom left of your Zoom, because I can see you, I just can't hear you. We'll give Adam a minute to figure it out. I bet he's still listening to the stream. Great call, great call.
Hello?
Hello, I can hear you, Adam. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you calling in from today?
Virginia, the beautiful state of Virginia.
Nice. Are you locked down in Virginia as well?
Oh, dude, I've been locked down for like the past few months. It's
Same.
been mind-numbing.
For sure. Well, hopefully you're able to stay busy and make some progress in some things. What's your question today?
So in terms of, there's a lot of questions about like music technique and different things you can do, like creativity and stuff like that. But I want to like ask questions like more on the marketing side of things. Like,
Sure.
How would you go about, like, let's say you have work that you're proud of, and like you want to make money off it, and you want to get yourself out there. How would you think would be the best way to do that?
The first thing you have to do is forget about the money aspect and don't even think about it at all, especially in the early stages. And second of all is to understand that there are a million people out there, whether you go on SoundCloud or YouTube and Spotify and wherever, that have the same dream as you, that want to get their stuff out there just like you do, and that have work that they're also really proud of, that they're all trying to get out there. So the challenge becomes not how do you get people to listen, because if you're just, I get spam comments all the time of people saying, "Hey, check out my latest track, check out my latest post, give me a shout out, da da da," and that's just noise. That's like amateur hour. I ignore that. I block that. Nobody looks at that stuff. So the question still remains, like, how do you get people to listen? And I know I said forget about the money, but obviously the point is you want to be able to live off your art, right?
Yeah.
And that's the dream for all artists. So first things first, if you want to live off your art, don't think of it as a single revenue stream. Don't think of it as I'm going to create art, release art, and live off my art. Because if you start that way, it's never going to work out. There's going to be a lot of different things in between. Even for me, as somebody who is a full-time freelancer, I do lots of things besides just make my art, release it, and take money from it. I've adapted to this market. So whether it's making beat videos for companies, whether it's doing videos with different types of gear, whether it's adding music to podcasts or videos, whether it's putting together videos or creative consulting, lots of different avenues you can go to live off your art. And if you think of it less as living off your art and more of it as making a living off of being an artist, that's a better way to look at it, because it's not a singular thing. Because being an artist for me, like look at my stuff. Like I don't just make music, I make videos, I do visual stuff, I do all this stuff that's beyond podcasting. Like it's so far beyond just the one thing. So first try to build a framework in your head that has you as the artist, and you want to live off being a creative artist. You want to get people to listen to it. It's all about community. You can, because like I said, millions of people trying to do the same exact thing you're doing. So who do you see that's most successful out there? Well, it's usually the artists that have built some type of community off of themselves, whether that is artists that have people showing up to their tour dates all around the country, all across the world. That's because there's a community built around that artist. And if they go over to Dublin, people show up and they go to their shows. And if they show up in Virginia, people show up and go to their shows because people love that artist. It's not just about the music. It's like you fall in love with the idea of the artist, the personality of the artist. All of those things are what leads you to buy that concert ticket. Or how do you put some songs in a playlist? Great, but not many of us have just like faceless artists in our favorite music in our playlists. A lot of us go a lot deeper, and they go and check out the music videos, they go and check out their Twitter, they go and check out their whatever. So all these things you can do by being you and building up a community around being you. So if you just use me as an example, people in this chat, people in this stream know that I love Star Wars. They know that I love beat making. They know that I love like cool neon lights. Like a lot of YouTubers you go to and see, they have a very different aesthetic, but they might do music production. So like this intersection of all the things that you like and love, music being one of them as a musician, as an artist, and then the other intersecting lines. What are those other intersecting lines that make you different? Whether it's, for me, it's like you love Star Wars, I love future stuff, I love cyberpunk, I love whatever. And the cross point between those lines is where people come together and they say, oh, I like all those things too, or all those things are really cool, so I want to follow this guy and find out more about him. So find that intersection of things that make you unique, start building community around that, and don't try to sell anybody anything. You're just an artist and you want to live off being an artist and not live off your art.
Okay. I see what you mean.
And then tactically, it's like all you have to do is go look at your favorite artists' social media pages and see exactly what they're doing. Like the model is there. Like if you want to know the best way to market yourself, go and look at all your favorite artists' Instagram pages and see exactly what they post. And what you'll notice, go ahead.
Have you seen Thundercat's Twitter? Thundercat's Twitter is fucking amazing.
I haven't. So what are some unique things about Thundercat's Twitter?
Well, he's got the humor there. He's just like,
humor.
When he's marketing his tours or something, it's just like huge joke videos. I can't really even explain it. It's just hilarious. And like people love him for it. He's got a great personality.
Exactly. And that's why they show up and that's why it comes through. Because like for me, like humor is not my thing. Like I'm funny, I think, sometimes, but I don't go about things like humor is not like my front facing thing. For some people's brand, it is, because that's their natural ability. That's what they're naturally good at. That's how their natural personality is. Figure out what your natural personality is and how do you make that come through in the best way? Because there's a lot of people out there like you. Like this is a big world. There's a lot of people in it. I'm willing to bet that there's lots of people out there that are like you, that vibe with you, that like what you do, that you can build a community around.
Sounds good.
I know it sounds like a lot, but it's going to take patience too, right? Like I had something pop up the other day that said it said when I started my channel, I forget the exact date, but it was 4 years ago, you know?
Oh, wow.
So like it's patience and it's different for everybody. There's YouTubers that started later than me that have bigger followings than me. There's YouTubers that started before me that have smaller followings. Like, and it doesn't matter. It goes back to the top of the segment of like, don't get into the comparison game. Don't believe the lie of like, oh, everything is great, everything is perfect, because you don't see behind the curtain the years of work behind it. Like you don't see that when you look at one really dope tweet by Thundercat or one really dope like Instagram video by whoever. You don't see behind the curtain that led to that. So keep it up being patient, build yourself, try to earn a living as an artist, not try to earn a living from your art.
I got just one more question.
Go for it.
So your YouTube channel, you said you started it 4 years ago. So what was like the process of building that up? Because I feel like YouTube is a great platform to get yourself out there. And even if it's hard, if you are really consistent and you put stuff out, I feel like you'll gain a following eventually.
As long as if the content is good and you've built community. So actually that's a really good follow-up question because it goes right into what I was just kind of talking about. I started this YouTube channel because I had just graduated college with a music degree and I really didn't know how I wanted to be an artist in the world, and I knew that I loved making music and electronic music, and I found that video making was actually a really cool way to get my performances and stuff out there. So here's what I do. I've released one performance video, and it gets shared and picked up by Novation, and they share it on like Facebook, and that was a big deal back then 4 years ago, and it got a lot of hits. Then what I tried to do was I tried to recreate the magic of that video. So I made two or three very, very similar sessions, which I think were great. I still think they're great. They're different from the original, obviously, unique works, but they were the same format, same everything, just me sitting on the floor performing. What didn't happen, I got a little bit of traction after, doing those kind of repeat videos, those similar vein videos. But what didn't happen is it didn't exponentially grow. Like it wasn't growing. I was getting some hits, but there was not very much growth. The moment that flipped and changed was when I started talking to people, and I started answering people's questions, and I started saying, well, this is how I use the Launch Key MIDI. Well, this is how I set up my Ableton project to do this. When you start a dialogue, a conversation between you and the people that are consuming your work, that's the first step in building that community. Because now I have people like Capel in the chat who will show up to literally any chat, Daniel, like these folks who have been showing up to the channel and showing up to these streams no matter when I go live. I change the time all the time because I can't get it together. But folks show up because it's a conversation, it's a dialogue. We're looking out for each other, that sort of thing. So if you, going back to how you originally phrased it, if you like make a track and you say, go listen to my track, go listen to my track, go buy my track, go buy my track, that's not a dialogue, that's not a conversation. If you release stuff and then engage in the conversation that comes from what you've released, that's your first step in building community, and that's how I did it.
All right, man. Sounds pretty sound. I appreciate it. I don't want to take up all your time here. Thanks, man.
Adam, thanks so much for the question. Stay patient and good luck.
All right, you too, man. Peace.
Peace. All right, a lot of calls today. I'm super excited. Thank you all for jumping in. I hope text chat is doing well. Gabu, you're going to be next. I'm going to hit admit. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm sure you'll correct me. I'm about to hit admit, so make sure you mute the stream when I do. I will go back and answer some text chat. I hope you are all doing well. And Tom Adams says, I think younger people have a different outlook on content creation than us old geezers. Yes and no, because you see a lot of things repeat themselves. We've always had audio, written word, and video, whether that's radio or podcasts, whether that's YouTube or CBS, whether that's Medium or the newspaper. We've always had the same kind of formats. Yes, keystrokes. Welcome, Nathan Lucas. I'm glad you could make it. Nick Lovin says, what was your fave pop punk band? I was a big Fall Out Boy fan. Big like Mayday Parade, all those folks, My Chemical Romance, The Used, all that. Yeah. I'm going to answer some more of the text chat, but first we're going to take our next call. I know I see lots of people in the waiting room. Gabu, Zara, Trek, Diego, Gorelli. We're going to do it in that order. So Gabu, you're up next. I think I'm hitting admit. All right, make sure you turn your microphone on. It does take a minute sometimes. And then we'll be able to chat and answer your question. Oh. Hey, what's up, man? I see your camera, but I don't hear you. So make sure you turn your microphone on, wherever that setting may be. You might have to allow microphone or something. I believe it's a... Oh. Just a sec. Cool. I'm going to dip into text chat until I can hear him. Prod by Pitt says, I think I lack technique. I mean, I'm kind of confident with my DAW. I have emotion, but I think I should learn more practical things. Yeah, it's a mix of both. It's the practical and then it's the fundamentals. You can constantly make strides in both of them. Learning fundamentals and learning technique is very, it's a tough process and it takes practice and diligence, but the more you do it, the more you'll build up and you can like see your progression over time. Emotion's a little harder to track, so be careful of that. Gabu, for now, I'm going to put you in the waiting room and I'm going to take the next call. So figure out how to do that. Just do a quick Google search, how to enable your mic on like whatever phone you have, how to enable your mic in Zoom, whatever. And Zara, I'm going to take your call now. Make sure you mute the stream. Hope I'm not surprising you because we're jumping in real quick. So guys, I think what Zoom does is by default, it turns your mic off when you first join the call. So you got to just find, oh, I can hear you, Zara.
Hi,
Hello, how are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm from the UK, England.
Hello, how is it over in the UK?
Oh, it's just cold all the time. It
Cold
rains.
all the time. Yeah, we have a very UK day like that today in Boston. Rainy, cloudy, and cool.
Oh, that's awful.
But how's it going? What's your question today?
I was gonna ask, how can I create a piece of music that's unique to me, but without losing inspiration and just dumping it halfway through?
It's a couple things. It's a discipline. So are you feeling like you're getting halfway through a piece, or you're making something and you're just losing the love for it at some point? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the kind of turning point that I think it comes down to discipline, right? Because it's the branch between, is this your work? Like my music and what I make, that's my work. And that's not necessarily a dirty word. I don't mean work like, oh, separate work-life balance. No, I don't mean that. I'm an artist. My work is my work. But it is intrinsic in that word. It is work. So there's always that time of like, oh, I'm really excited. Let me sit down and make this session. Let me sit down and make some music. I've got the controllers. I'm rocking and rolling. I'm cool. But then when it is crunch time and it's like, oh, let's finish this, or let's make an actual video, or let's make an actual session out of this that I can share with people, it is work. It's a crunch because suddenly there's rules you have to follow. Now, you could be a person that is just like, oh, music is just my hobby. Art is just my hobby. I don't want to actually make a career. I don't want to share it with anybody. It doesn't have to do with making a career. I don't want to share it with anybody. It's just for me. And maybe that's you, and maybe that would make you happy. But I assume that because of this question, that you actually want to get it out and you want to release. And that really comes down to discipline, because if you think of running, like I absolutely hate running. But running is really hard. But there's people who run marathons, right? And the whole time they're running that marathon, they're not thinking, oh my God, this is amazing. This is the best thing I've ever done. I feel so great. This is the best I'm ever going to feel. During that marathon, it's like the gears are turning in your brain. It's work. It's leg, foot after foot, foot after foot. Keep going, pushing yourself. It's the same thing with anything that you work on, like music. Like just because it's art, just because it's music and like it is kind of fun and it starts as a hobby usually and then morphs into work, doesn't mean that we don't have to have that same marathon mentality. So it is about developing a discipline so that you can push yourself through, because what happens to the marathon runner after they cross the finish line? Then you forget everything. Then you forget how hard it was, that trail behind you. You hit that finish line and you're like, whoo, I just ran a marathon. I feel amazing. Despite all of how it felt behind you and on the trail behind you. It's the same thing with music, right? So you start off with that exhilarating feeling. Great, I'm making a session, I'm making a track, I'm loving how it sounds. Then it gets hard, then it's work. But that's when you have to switch into work mode, into your brain, into discipline mode, and say, I'm going to finish this, I'm going to do this. Because you won't remember how hard or annoying or how tough it felt once you release that track and people are like, wow, I really dig this track. Instead, you're going to feel like you just crossed the finish line.
Yeah.
So you got to push yourself to the finish line, but it is a push and it is work. And I think that is a lot of, it actually very much ties back into the topic today, because I'm sure you see a lot of your favorite artists with finished work. You see a lot of videos where your favorite artist plays an amazing track, or you go on Spotify and you listen to an amazing track by your artist. And it's really easy to get caught up in the vision that they just like make that magically appear at the snap of their fingers. But they didn't. They put in a lot of work and they pushed themselves. The marathon runner didn't just appear at the finish line. They ran that marathon and it was hard. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I was just gonna add, because when I see like other people on platforms like Spotify, and I'm inspired by their work, and it does kind of get me down a bit, because I think, well, I can't really do that, and I know that's like low self-esteem, and
Why not? Why
I've
can't you do it?
yeah.
Why can't you do it? What's stopping you?
I'm not sure. It feels like I can't make anything as great as them, but I know I could. And then I just lose it completely. I lose my ideas. I try to get them down as quick as I can, but they just disappear quite quickly.
Can I ask you a question? How old are you, if you don't mind?
I'm 14.
You're 14, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to compare yourself to these artists that, like, how many 14-year-olds do you know in your circle that have released music on Spotify? I mean, I'm sure there's a fair amount of young people that are releasing on Spotify. I mean, look at Billie Eilish. She's super young. But if you compare yourself to their life, like, you don't have that life that these artists have. You don't have the training that they have. You don't have the discipline that they have, you know? It's completely different. Don't get caught up in that comparison. What you should be doing is strive to get there. Like, you should be looking at that's the finish line for you. Instead of trying to act like you should be up where they're at, you should be looking at those artists that you love like, that's where I'm going. That's where I got to get to. And that's a journey, and you got to embrace that journey, because you're 14 now. If you want to get to 28 like me, and you're getting off to a start now, you're going to get way more popular than me and have way bigger of an audience than me, because you're starting now. You're starting way younger than I ever started. And just embrace that vision. Embrace that the finish line is down the road, way down the road, and you're looking at it as something to aspire to. You're not looking at it and saying, well, why the hell am I not at the finish line already? No runner is doing that at the starting line, saying, well, what the hell? That guy's at the finish line. Why am I not at the finish line? Well, because that guy's a spectator and he's watching, or he ran starting 10 minutes before me, whatever. People started at different places in this race. So, like, wherever you're starting from, you got to get to that finish line your own way, no matter how long it is.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now.
All right, you can do it. I hope you're going to call in again, because I would love to hear about like some updates and how you've been doing, and it would be good to hear from you again to kind of hear how you're doing.
Yeah, I'll call in again. This was really useful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, chat, we got to run through these calls because Zoom is saying I got 7 minutes left of call time. So, Gabu, I'm giving you one more shot. Here we go. Let's see. Will he make it? Chat, let me know what you think. I'm trying to like upgrade my Zoom while on a stream. Like, that's probably a bad idea, right? I can't even remember my password. It's going to lock me out in the middle of the stream. Gabu, your mic is still not there. I might have to let you go and move on to Diego. Diego, get ready because this might be your time to shine. All right, we're going to switch. I'm sorry, Gabu. Maybe next Monday. Next Monday, I'm doing another call-in show. I'm going to put you in the waiting room again. Diego, you are on the air. Let's see how this goes. Oh, Diego left. Oh, Diego's back. The mic was there, and then it disappeared. Man, Zoom, you're killing me today, Zoom. Let's see if, oh, you know what? I'm going to upgrade my account right now. Say I won't, chat. Say I won't. Upgrade account. It's going to make me like restart Zoom. It's going to be a whole mess. Let's hope they have PayPal. Oh, they do. Amazing. Diego, how's your mic going? I might have to put you back in the waiting room too. What's going on, folks? All right, I'm going to put you in the waiting room. Figure it out. If I can get this upgrade situation, I will still be able to take your guys' calls. That's why I'm not just booting you. I'm putting you in the waiting room. Trek, you are up next. Come on in, Trek. Trek, prove me wrong. Can people get their mics working? Let's see. And then I'll dip into text chat in a bit too, but I'm kind of on the fly here trying to buy some pro Zoom. Trek, you're
Hello?
here. Make sure you lower the volume of the Zoom. I mean, the YouTube stream.
Okay, I missed it now, yeah.
How are you today? Where are you calling in from?
Oh. I'm all good. I'm calling from Cambridge, England.
Cambridge, England. Interesting. We have Cambridge here in Boston. I don't know if you knew that. They took all the names.
Yeah, right.
How's it going? What is your question?
It's going good. Really should be doing my university work right now, but just having a little
We could
break.
take a break from that. Yeah.
Yeah. So my question is, how to keep motivated? Because let's say sometimes I'll make a beat. It sounds fine to me, whatever, but then I'll go on to listen to my favorite artist or something, and the level of everything is so above everything. It's sometimes I feel like, should I really keep going with this, or is it worth it?
Well, what is worth it? Like, say, okay, today I could wave a magic wand and you could magically make the music that you aspire to make.
Mm-hmm.
What makes that worth it?
Well, I guess working with artists, I guess.
What do you mean working with artists?
Kind of dream artists, having a following, stuff like that. Actually.
So what does that do for you? What is having a following? What is working with dream artists? What does that do for you? They're fine. Those are fine aspirations to have. I mean, that just sounds more like an end result rather than an actual thing you aspire to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So maybe I guess that's what I should work on first. What are my aspirations like?
Well, yeah. Figure out what the easy answer is. Is the easy answer you just love music and you can't not do music and you can't breathe without, or you can't wake up one day without doing music, and it's just what you want your life to be all about? Is that it?
Well, kind of I've been for a long time for a long time music. I've been a huge fan of music, but listening. Recently, I've gotten into creating it.
Right.
So.
So you've gone from this world of being a consumer to now you are a full-on creator, trying to be a creator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So motivation, and it comes down to a lot of the things we already talked about. I don't know if you were watching the show while you were in the waiting room, but a lot of things people are talking about, and that I'm talking about today, is comparison, because that's what a lot of people are saying is crushing their motivations. And this is directly related to your question, because we can have things to aspire to. This is literally the previous call. We can have these things to aspire to, but if you put the pressure on yourself to be at the aspirational level when you haven't put in the amount of work that it takes to get to the aspirational level, it's self-defeating. You're gonna be so over it after a very short amount of time. There's no fast way. It comes to some people faster, it comes to some people slower. But if you compare, your favorite artist's reality is not your reality.
Yeah. I guess
So you can't compare yourself to a fake reality. Especially and this is the privilege argument too. You don't know, it's if you're starting a race and it's from here to here, but not everybody's at the same starting line. Some people are starting right here. Some people are starting way back here. Some people are starting up here. Some people had piano lessons when they were 7 years old. Okay, they're a lot closer to a potential finish line than you if you've never taken a music lesson at all in your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
So imagine how upset you'll be comparing yourself to that person. If you go into a gym and you see somebody deadlifting 1,000 pounds, which I just saw this the other day, the guy from Game of Thrones deadlifted the most amount of weight that anybody ever has. If you walk in the gym and you look at that guy and he deadlifts 1,000 pounds, and then you go to deadlift that same 1,000 pounds and you can't do it, you're going to walk out the gym and say you're the worst deadlifter ever and you're never going to be able to do it? No, you're going to put in the years and years and years of work that that guy did and figure out how to lift your own 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true.
Or maybe, and don't discredit this either, maybe you see the guy deadlifting 1,000 pounds, you say, I kind of want to do that. You start to get into the process of learning how to lift 1,000 pounds and you realize, I don't actually want to deadlift. I actually want to run marathons. Oh, I don't actually want to deadlift. I actually want to do sit-ups and push-ups.
Okay, so branching off to different.
Yeah, it's okay to quickly and make decisions based on exactly how you feel. You're your own boss. As an artist, you're your own boss. If you get into making music and you're man, I love the music industry, but making music right now is not bringing me joy. Maybe you go be somebody's manager. Like work, like I hear you say, like work with big name artists and develop followings. Like maybe you go end up being somebody's manager. Maybe you end up going and being somebody's like tour manager or something like that. So, but not saying that that's necessarily what you want to do, but I'm saying embrace being able to pivot in different directions on how you feel. Just because you start trying to be a music producer and eventually you grow to not love it as much does not mean you have failed. It means that something inspired you initially, and then when you got deep into it, it wasn't inspiring anymore. So it's time to zoom out and look at why. Oh, maybe I love the industry more than I love making the music. Or maybe I love making samples more than I love making tracks. Or maybe I love only writing melodies. I don't love writing bass lines. You know? Allow
Okay,
yourself
right.
to quickly pivot. Do what makes you happy.
Right. Okay. Wow. Thanks for that. That's thanks for that.
Yeah, Trek, thank you so much for calling in. That was a great question.
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks.
Good
So
luck.
that kind of dragged on at the end. Thanks.
Yeah.
See ya.
See ya. Chat, I gotta tell you something. I was able to secure the Zoom Premium live on stream. You guys would never even know it. So we have unlimited time on Zoom. I see 2 Gabus in the waiting room. That's actually really exciting because I don't know which one to click. I'm going to try Mr. Jules because Mr. Jules has been waiting the longest. Then I'm going to try Diego and Gabu one more time and dip into Check's chat. Sassanid, I'm so glad you can make it. Welcome to Mentor Monday. Mr. Jules, I'm bringing you in for a call-in. I can see your mic, which means I should be able to hear you. How's it going, Mr. Jules? Oh, maybe not.
Hi.
Oh, there we go. I can hear you. Amazing. How are
Sorry,
you doing
my
today?
Microphone
It's okay.
interface was wrong.
How are things going? Where are you calling in from?
I'm from Mexico. It's a
Mexico.
pleasure to be here with you, hearing
It's
all the-
my pleasure, man. Thank you so much for calling in.
all the advices and all that stuff. Well, I'm a DJ since when I was 12 years old,
Wow.
and well, right now I try to produce some music and some things, crazy things here in Mexico. For example, I love all these Latin rhythms and Latin sounds
Mm-hmm.
with the percussion and the I don't know how to say it in English, timbales,
Yeah.
and with these tumbaos of piano from the salsa beats.
Bro, we
And
have matching buns. Oh, the listeners can't see. But guys, just imagine. Me and Mr. Jules have matching buns.
okay, and I would like to know if you can tell me. I just bought this APC Key 25
Mm-hmm.
and also an AK LPD8 to set these effects and some um, drum machines and drum racks. Sorry, and I would like to know if I should buy maybe a launch pad, or how can I set more efficiently all the equipment, or what's the gear that I should need for getting all these instruments inside of the set. Like for example, I have this friend who's a percussionist, and I can um, record him with these percussions,
Totally.
and well, I don't know how to improve all the system. It's very complicated because I'm making or unifying sounds from synths and percussions and looping from some tracks and sampling from others. So it has been a very complicated
Totally.
work, and the flow constantly makes me be like, holy shit, man, this is wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it right,
Well,
So
it's not
very
wrong. So
complicated.
what you're doing is right, and because what you're doing is like trying, failing, try something else, fail. Okay, this kind of works. Let's go in more this direction. And that is another part of embracing this process of creating a live set and getting to know a new DAW and learning some of this stuff, because you got to embrace that things are going to go wrong all the time. I have this gear that I just made a video with, this mixer. I tried to make this video last weekend and the mixer was not working the way I wanted to. Reached out, got some help, figured out how to fix it, and it worked. Then I sat down and something that always works all the time stopped working, and I had to troubleshoot how to figure it out. So like what I'm saying is, and like this is how it is. Like it's never just like plug in all the gear, put in all the samples, and everything's perfect. It's never like that. It's not like that for anybody. It's like that after years of developing. It's after years of practice and finding a setup that really works for you and trying different gear and putting it together. But it's for nobody who's just putting together a live performance set. It's about experimentation. It's about failure. It's about figuring out what works best for you and embracing the fact that things are going to go wrong and you're going to have to figure it out. If there's one thing you can count on, technically, not even just technically, all the way around, the one thing you can count on is that things will go wrong. Unexpected things will go wrong. So that said, you're building up your live set. You're using Ableton Live, I presume.
Yeah.
That's your DAW.
Thanks a lot. Well, just an advice. I would like to know if I'm very short of money right now, so I would like to know if it's
well, here's
it's
what I can tell you.
convenient.
Yeah, right away. What I can tell you, you have the APC key and you have the LPD8, correct?
Yeah.
All right, you have everything you need right now to make really dope live sessions. And here's why I say that. And this is a little bit more of a technical question, so it's not 100% Mentor Monday, but this is why, like, you're saying, oh, I'm short on money, I don't want to buy stuff. Don't buy any more gear. You've got the Akai APC, which is, for those of you who don't know, it's like Akai's answer to the launch key. It has session clips. You can launch and record and all that. So that's like your control of your clips and your loops. Boom. Your keyboard is your keyboard to play musical ideas. That's easy. It's got knobs on it too, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to control effects with those knobs. The LPD8, which has pads and knobs, or just pads?
Pads and knobs.
Pads and knobs. So you have even more effects, and then you have those pads so you can record your friend playing the timbales, and you can have all different percussion loops there. You literally have everything you need right there for a really dope live set. So I really expect to see some cool live videos from you soon using
I hope so.
the APC and the LPD8. And you know what? You're already saying like, oh, like trying to put it together and then there's issues and then run into problems like setting it up. If you add another piece of gear into that scenario, it's going to give you more trouble. So master this gear that you have right now, which I can tell you, you have all the three elements that I would recommend to somebody: the session clip control, the keyboard, the knobs, and the pads. Well, four. Those are the four things that I would recommend people have to control a live set. You have them all. Don't add something more that's going to further complicate. Build up your set to where you're super confident and comfortable with controlling it with those controllers. And then when you feel like, oh, if I just had this controller, I could do this extra thing that I can't do right now, that's when you buy a new piece of gear. Make sense?
Yeah, obviously.
Amazing.
I probably will do something real excited, and I hope to share it
Fantastic.
on the website.
You have like Instagram and all that?
Yeah,
All right.
obviously.
Make sure you tag me if you're going to put up a live set. Tag me. If you tag me like in the caption, but also like in the post, I'll definitely see it.
Oh, thank you very much. I will appreciate it very much.
All right. I'll share it. As soon as I see it, I'll share it. So get something good going.
Okay. Thank you very much, TAETRO.
Thank you so much.
Really, really pleasure to be here with you, and obviously to see all your channel or the videos of your channel. It's very, very impressive what you have done in these years.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you on. Have a good one.
You too.
Great Mentor Monday today, guys. I think the 3 p.m. time was like a sweet spot. I think you guys really liked this time. Seems like a lot of people could show up. I'm stoked that you could all be here. Let me dig back into text chat. All right. I've got Diego and Gabu on deck. So if you guys are ready with your mics, I'll bring you back in. That's for sure. It's funny. You guys are funny in chat. Mike Hogue, I'm good. Good to see you. Happy you're back. Proud by Pit. Yeah. Okay. Let's jump in. We're bringing Gabu one more time. See if this works. 2 more calls, and we're going for a little bit of a longer show today, but that's okay. Gabu, you are in the waiting room. Let's see if your mic turns on. I see you, man, but I don't hear you. It's too bad. Give him a couple minutes. I'll dig into this text chat here. Jan Stabla is here. Hello. Louis. Lou.e is here. Oh, Gabu, you are one step closer. You just got to unmute it. I can see the mic now. Oh, if I unmute you, boom. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We did it.
Oh my god, it was taking so much time for me.
3rd time's the charm. Just want to let you guys know that I paid for Zoom Premium just so we could keep going and get these calls in. So let's make it a good one. What's your question today? Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from India.
India. How are things in India right now?
Right now, I'm thinking it's a bit okay. Like no one is going out, but recently we had a gas spill, like a gas leak over here.
Oh, wow.
So around 1,000 people were injured and 12 people passed away.
I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you're okay. I hope your family's good.
Yeah.
So what's your question today?
So actually, I've been into music. Like I wanted to go to this music part from long time, but like my parents didn't have belief in that. So like usually people in India think that music wouldn't do good. Like they don't have much scope for them.
Right. So you want to know how to try to get around that and how to try to build something for yourself? Well, one thing I don't want to presume to know anything about any culture that I haven't lived in and don't know very well. And I know that can be super hard because that's very embedded in a lot of cultures is the arts are something on the side and the priority should be get a job, get a career, right? Like that's the main thing.
Yeah.
The best way to kind of get in with that logic and to try to make strides for yourself is to understand right off the bat that you're going to have to work a lot harder. You're going to have to work a lot harder than I had to work at doing this because I grew up in America with very supportive parents who when I said I wanted to do music, didn't take a second look, didn't take a second chance. So like that's that race. We were talking about a race earlier of like people starting at different places on the starting line. There are people who have supportive parents and supportive families that said, yes, go do music that are starting here and the finish line is here. And then there's people like you who have to start a lot further back. So to catch up to that person, you're going to have to work really hard. And that's just like a reality. And it's going to make you stronger in the end. You're going to have to work that much harder to do what you want to do. Because if your parents are supporting you and your parents are actually kind of like in charge and they pay bills or they put the roof over your head and all that, then you kind of have to have some level of respect and listen to their wishes. But it also means that you're going to have to spend any free moment that you have that your parents do not have control over pursuing the music that you want to pursue. So you need to take every single second that they aren't forcing you to go do work here or they aren't forcing you to focus on this and take those moments of freedom and really work extra hard. And the hardest part about that is other people's moments of freedom. They play Call of Duty, they go do other things, they go do leisurely activities. But since you have a lot of like catching up to do just because of that, like you lack that privilege of having parents who support you in music, you're going to have to fill those gaps. Instead of playing the game of Call of Duty, you're going to have to fill that gap with making music and doing something for yourself. If that truly is what you want, that's the kind of reality of the situation. Then Once you've done that, when you've filled every gap of freedom, free time with building up your music, you might build up something to a point where music can actually be your career. And if you start to build up income in any sort of way, this is going to be way in music being a career or musicianship being a form of income. But if you can show them that along your journey, along your road, it's going to help a lot. But right now you got a lot of catching up to do. So you got to fill all your free time with making music and doing and bettering yourself as a musician, playing their game until eventually, you can build up financial independence and move on your own. And then show them what you can actually do. But it's going to be a harder struggle for you than it is for a lot of people. Doesn't mean it's impossible, because a lot of people grew up just like you and did it.
Yeah, I even made my parents realize that I can play something, and I took a guitar and I started learning that. It's been a year or two. I don't know when I started exactly, but recently I left. I used to study in a university called SRM. So there I left my guitar. Like I'm a BTech student over there. So I had a problem. I told my dad, I need something else. I want to play something. He's like, you have a guitar. So then I started seeing what are the other things I can play. I thought of music production to start something like that. It really seemed something like good thing for me to go on. So I started looking at all the MIDI controllers. Then I got to know about this Akai MPK Mini 2.
Right.
So I ordered it. I think I'm gonna get it today morning.
Amazing.
Or today afternoon, most probably.
Good. And just like that dedication, that time you spent when he said, "Oh, go learn the guitar," you have a guitar, and you dedicated that time to doing it. It's the same thing with electronic music and music production now. If you got to show that dedication, because that's going to get you closer and closer to them understanding and them supporting you. But it's on you to be dedicated and to put in that work.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the call, Gabu. I'm so glad that we could get you on the line. I hope to hear from you again soon when you get the Akai MPK Mini in. And I hope we can check in a couple weeks on a future Mentor Monday and you can tell me how it's going, okay?
Okay.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the call. Stay safe. There's a lot going on out there. Stay safe. I hope you and your family can stay safe.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Have a good one. Wow. So think about that, chat. There are people in this race, whatever this race may be. It's like the aspiration of being the great music producer, right? It's a long race. Not everybody's starting at the same starting line. Some people are starting behind you and some people are starting ahead of you. So if you can catch up the ground to the people who started ahead of you, then you got to do that. If you're starting ahead of a lot of people, you better do a lot with your platform and a lot with your privilege to make it so that other people have a shot and other people have a chance and other people can also be successful. Because it's kind of like a race in a lot of the ways that I've described today as a metaphor, but it's also not like a race because there isn't first, second, third, fourth. We're artists. Sure, there's some artists that are more popular, more whatever, but what's your North Star? If your North Star is being able to support yourself as an artist, then that's all you have to care about. Being able to support yourself as an artist could mean having 10 subscribers on YouTube. So are you going to measure your success against a YouTuber who has 100,000 subscribers? Probably not. You're just worried about supporting yourself. If your North Star is building up a great international community of home studio musicians, I judge my success on the fact that we've just had so many people call in today from the US, the UK, India, Panama. That's what makes me feel good when I go to bed at night. It's not about the number of subscribers. It's not about the number of concurrent viewers. None of that. So figure out what your North Star is and just focus on it. We're going to let one more caller in today, Diego. Let's see if Diego's mic will work this time. I hope you guys are enjoying today's Mentor Monday. Please let me know in the chat if you are. Let's see. Diego, no mic symbol here, but as soon as you figure it out, I'm sure I'll be able to hear you. So I'll just dip into text chat for now. A lot of MIDI controller chat as usual. I cannot escape the MIDI controller chat. if you all are interested in seeing my latest looping performance, you can wait till next weekend, or you can watch it right now by going to patreon.com/TAETRO. When you go there, there's tiers that let you get in for, oh, Diego, you're here.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, man. I was having trouble connecting the mic.
I'm so stoked that you're able to be here. Let me just finish my little pitch so people know where to go to watch the video, and then we'll get in.
Absolutely, yeah. For sure, yeah.
So chat, patreon.com/TAETRO, TAETRO. You can join for as little as $1. You can see the latest live looping performance, which is not out yet for everybody. It's only out for patrons. You can even get one-on-one lessons with me if you find this mentorship helpful. And you could join our Discord community, which means that it's a community of like-minded home studio musicians from all around the world that chat, ask each other for help, share each other's music. It's how you submit music to the podcast, all those things. So I'm putting the link in the chat. I think I've typed it correctly, but if I didn't, hopefully someone will jump in and correct me. And just check it out. Join. Little as $1. You can support the channel if you took value. And if not, I know it's a tough time for everybody, so tune in into these free live streams. These live streams aren't going anywhere. But Diego, you're our last call of the day. I'm so glad we could have you on. Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much, Nick.
So, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Cyprus, a little island in the Mediterranean Sea.
Wow, and how are things on a little island in the Mediterranean Sea during COVID?
They're getting back to normal slowly, fortunately.
Great.
Yeah, but it was heavy for a while. But fortunately, it's getting better.
Great, good to hear. What's your question today?
So my question is, I'm a 28-year-old musician. I've been playing music since I was probably 13 or 14.
Mm-hmm.
Just recently, I started dwelling in production. My question might sound a bit weird for you, but
I'll
how
take
do you
it.
finish a song? That's my question, because I can never get to the point where I'm satisfied with the final piece. You know, I think it's done. I'm mixing, I'm mastering, and suddenly another line comes to mind, another idea, and I go back, redo everything again. So I end up with a bunch of unfinished projects in my folder. So how do you go around that?
Right. So let's walk through the logic, because our brains are funny when this happens, and this happens to literally everybody. It happens to me. It happens to people who have called in on the show. It happens to people with much larger audiences than you or I. It's universal. Our brain goes into this really weird mode when we're making music. And it gets really caught up in the adrenaline of that stage where you're just coming up with ideas, and it's new and it's fresh, and that's the most exciting part. It feels like the music's flowing out of you. But then an earlier caller, we talked about discipline, and it's all about when it transitions into work in the brain, because that transition time is when your brain goes from it switches into a very different portion. And I would love to talk to somebody who knows the science of this at one point, because it goes from that free flowing fun part to, oh crap, now this is work, and now I have to finish, and now I have to refine. You know, that's a totally different section of our brain than the section that we're using when we're coming up with musical ideas in a flow. So we look at it from the end result, right? So you want to finish music, like that's your goal. But what's happening is you're getting into the music that you really want to finish, and then you're saying, let me just add one more idea, let me change this, let me change that, and then it doesn't get finished, then you move on to the next thing. So your end result is having no finished music.
Precisely.
So you have to remember that, like that principle in your head, like that is where you're going wrong. You have to remember that at the moment that your brain switches gears and it switches into work mode, because it's going to switch into work mode and you're going to feel tired. You're going to feel fatigued. You're going to feel uninspired. You're going to feel like it's work. But if you remind yourself in that switch moment that, well, if I don't just finish this, I'm never going to finish anything, then you will have a motivating factor to push you to actually finish. It's discipline. It's not always easy. But what happens is, like, your brain has pathways, neural pathways, right? I used to work in youth development, so we like talk about like behaviors and how we learn behaviors and things like that. If you learn a behavior that's like, I'm going to engage with music when it's fun, and then when it's not fun anymore, I'm going to abandon the project, and then I'm going to start a new project that's fun, and I'm going to abandon it when it's not fun anymore. You've trained your brain that feels good, that's the thing to do. When you're trying to carve a new path out now, you're trying to make a new neural path. So your new neural path is it's fun, and then it's work, and then I finish, and then it feels good. You see how many more steps that is to feeling good?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard in this beginning time. But if you actually have an understanding of the fact that it's going to be hard and that it's like it shouldn't really be easy and it shouldn't feel easy because you're creating new neural pathways in your brain, then you can embrace the fact that it's hard and you can just we all have in many different aspects of life, and music is no different. We get really caught up in this idea of that it's art, it's supposed to be fun, it's whatever, and music is fun. But when you're like really trying to be professional and you're trying to make it your work, there's another level of fun, there's another level of completion that you have to get to. So you have to build those new neural pathways, and that's really hard for your brain to comprehend at first. But when you power through the first 2, the first 3, the first 5, eventually by the 5th time, it's going to be your habit. So go right to arrangement. Like if you're doing a bunch of loops and stuff, you're going right to arrangement. You're saying, I'm not leaving this session until I have a very basic demo arranged and finished. And then you're also going to embrace the fact that, I say this all the time, tomorrow's track is going to be better than today's. And if you don't finish today's track, you're never going to get to tomorrow's track. So finish today's track, get it done, put it out, with the full understanding that the thing you make tomorrow, the thing you make a year from now is going to be so much better. Don't wait till the moment. Don't wait till a year from now, or else it won't be better. It's going to be exactly where you are today. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you don't mind me asking, just to finish, out of curiosity, how do you personally go about this? Does it ever get to a point where you know, like, okay, this track's finished, there's nothing more to add? Or do you force yourself to just finish the track and release it and that's it?
Well, it's a lot like I kind of just explained. It's like the building the neural pathways. I used to have very much a hard time with this, and Ableton is you're very susceptible because of the session view, which is really performance based. It's really a sketch pad. You can get stuck working in that session view and never make it over to arrangement view. So especially when I was much younger, a lot of unfinished projects, a lot of stuff just never made it out of session view. But then I started building up the habit. And also video creation was kind of like a hack for me, because if I was going to make a video and put it out, it meant I had to finish it. So I almost like tricked my brain into getting better at finishing, because I was like, well, now I don't just make tracks, I make videos. So I can't hide behind like, oh, I'll release one track this month, I'll release one track next month. It's like, no, I'm releasing a video every week, which means that the track has to be done to the best that it can be. And even a video has to be done to the best that it can be. So it was like in the spirit of making a video, I learned how to finish tracks. So that was a hack, and maybe will be a similar hack for you. I mean, I never got better at making beats faster than I did when I did Beattober, and I made a beat every single day, beat video every single day for 31 days in a row. That helped me refine my process. And you want to talk about building neural pathways. I couldn't give up one day. I couldn't leave one day off and say, no, I'm not going to do it today. Because it was a habit. It was a challenge. It was 31 days. And if I didn't post one day, everybody was going to know. At the end of the 31 days, it was so much easier. By day 32, like, I do this in my sleep now. You know what I mean? It's like any habit.
Okay. So you kind of forced yourself to cultivate that self-discipline. It's a working process.
Absolutely. Force yourself, find hacks around it. Like if there's anything similar that you can find that's similar to like the video thing, if you have an accountability partner, somebody who can hold you accountable, another producer that you can link up with and say, hey man, we're both going to finish a track on Friday and we're going to meet on Zoom and we're going to show each other our tracks. Like just having that accountability partner might be the thing that pushes you, because right now, who are you accountable to? Just yourself, really. And you can kind of slide. You can slide around yourself and kind of say, you make excuses for yourself because nobody's holding you accountable. But if you have a partner who's counting on you, you don't have that. So maybe that's one way you could work too.
Okay, perfect. Makes total sense, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Diego. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it, Nick. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye, you too.
Chat, it's getting late, but it's a really great Mentor Monday today. There are some really amazing calls. I think this is great. I appreciate that. Turnaround says, so Diego, if you are still listening out there, Turnaround says daily streams can work for accountability too. That's true. If you want to go live every single day, making beats, making music, like that's a really cool way to hold yourself accountable. Even if you don't have that huge audience, somebody will show up. Somebody will say, hey, you didn't stream today. They'll call you out. Don't worry. Nata? Yes, Nata Beats. It's awesome being able to connect with people from all over the world that love beats too. Yeah, same. That's why I started this community. That's why I started the Discord, this channel, all of it. That's why. We're coming to an end today. I really appreciate everybody that's been in chat. Damaris is talking about feedback on music. Damaris, the best way to do that is to go to patreon.com/TAETRO and join for $1 and submit your music to the podcast. Just because I get requests for feedback all the time. So like it's very hard to get it in there. Scott Vincent, thank you for being here as usual. I really appreciate it. Murphy, I'm glad you could be here. Turnaround. Jesse Light, if you go back and watch the stream, you'll see how you kind of inspired with your comment on Patreon today's stream. It's really amazing. The thing to remember from today's stream chat, remember, we all take the trash out. Your hero takes the trash out. And when you see the amazing studio that they have, just remember, they take the trash out. We all do. We all get dirty. We all don't have this perfect, amazing life that we show on Instagram. We show the highlights. When we're not seeing the highlights, we're taking the trash out. Whether that means we're doing 10 takes of one session and you're seeing the perfect one, or whether that means we're struggling for 4 years to learn music theory, and then you see the end result, which is really dope music. All of that. If you guys took value today and you are able to, of course, it's a crazy time and not everybody can support, and nobody who can't should. But if you would like to support my work in some way, it'd be amazing if you headed to patreon.com/TAETRO and became a patron. You can join for as little as $1, which gets you access to, right now, if you join for $1 right now, you would get a 10 sample pack from the Etruria Micro Freak. You would get early access to the video that has not premiered on YouTube yet. Really cool looping video. You would get access to the Discord chat, which is a chat kind of just like the chat that's happening right now, kind of like the chats that we've just been having of like-minded home studio musicians from around the world. You can talk to them. You can ask them for technical help. You can ask for people for advice. You can just chat about anything. We have a general hangout chat. You'll get to see videos before they come out, as soon as they come out, and you'll be in the know. And I chat on there a lot of the time too. I really appreciate you all for checking in. In the description, there's a link to the Patreon. I just put a link to the Patreon in the chat. Today was probably one of the best Mentor Mondays we've ever had. So thank you. I'm really, really grateful for today. Appreciate you all. We'll be back next week for another Mentor Monday. I'll be live for a TAETRO Talks stream on Thursday, a music business talk. So if you guys are interested in music business and marketing, make sure you tune into that on Thursday evening, EST, 7 p.m. It's going to be really amazing. Sometime around next week, I'll have a really cool announcement to tell you guys, some personal stuff that's going on and where I'll end up and all that. But thank you all so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Best Mentor Monday yet by far. Thanks to everybody who called in. Thanks to everybody who hung in chat. Patreon.com/TAETRO if you want to support, if you want to join the community. Thank you so much for watching. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.